I honestly did not want to make this video, but feel I have no choice. This video is going to be very different from any of our previous videos. And again, I did not want to do this. My goal with TFE has been to try to knock down this wall of animosity that currently divides flat earthers and globe earthers and bring both sides together to conduct an experiment together and work together toward a pursuit of the truth, whatever that truth is. And I have been extremely fair and cordial and accommodating to both sides since the beginning of the final experiment. As a glober, I obviously disagree with flat earthers on this very issue, but I still have very amicable conversations with them that are respectful. For example, I've recently been communicating with Flat Earth millionaire Tanner Stewart and also Pastor Dean Odell. Even though we disagree, those conversations have been fine. So this has nothing to do with Eric Dubay being a flat earther. But Eric Dubay released a video about me and the final experiment last week.
Recently, a wealthy globe Earth proponent named Will Duffy launched a campaign dubbed The Final Experiment, which he claims will finally settle the globe versus flat Earth debate forever.
And this video has me a little upset. So you're not going to get the regular smiley Will for this video. Eric did two things in this video that are just completely uncalled for and ridiculous. And because of this, I felt no choice but to release this response video. I need to keep the final experiment within the spirit of how I created it, which is collaboration and respect by each side. Eric, even though I felt like I had to do this video, I'm going to offer a nice gesture, which is that if you end up responding to this video and you answer all of my 12 questions, I will donate $1,000 to any charity of your choice. Okay, so what did Eric do to make me so upset? First, he all of a sudden changed his position on Antarctica.
In reality, the existence of a midnight sun in Antarctica no more proves the globe than the non-existence of a midnight sun in Antarctica proves the flat Earth.
I've spent way too much time and effort and money on this experiment for people to just flippantly change their minds. There is zero logical reason to change your position on something you've been extremely adamant about for years simply because we are now going to test it. The only thing I can come up with as to why somebody would do this is because they don't actually feel confident about what they've been saying all this time. So this video is going to cover your sudden change on Antarctica and the 24-hour sun. The second thing Eric did was call Jiren Campanella of Jirenism a shill.
The only reason this strawman argument even has any legs to stand on are because a couple suspicious, shilly, so-called flat earthers who I have repeatedly called out as disinformation agents, like Jiren from Jirenism, have claimed that they believe a midnight sun in Antarctica somehow does prove the globe.
Dude, don't do that. And if flat earthers aren't willing to stand up for Jiren, I will. You don't call Jiren a shill simply because he's willing to go to Antarctica because someone is paying for him. Do you know how ridiculous you sound in saying that? So flat earthers, including you, Eric, have been saying for a decade how badly you want to be able to travel to Antarctica and how Antarctica holds the key to the shape of the Earth. And now that someone, me, is willing to pay for it, Jiren is a shill for accepting? How does that make any sense whatsoever? I'm literally the person flat earthers have been asking for years. I got a chuckle when you were doing this interview.
I don't know any millionaire, billionaire friends, unfortunately. Hey, let's can we just like take a plane, go to Antarctica, we'll fly as far as we can. And when we run out of gas, we'll get on our, snowmobiles or whatever, and just go that way, have a camp and shelter. And that's true exploration.
Mm-hmm.
That's hardcore risking your life for science. And we can't do that.
Hi, I'm right here. I'm that guy. I have arrived. Since I'm here now, the normal response would be, great, thanks, Will. Can I be the flat earther to go? I would love to go to Antarctica. But calling Jiren a shill, one of the OG flat earthers, is absolutely ridiculous. Jiren is the single most courageous flat earther right now, hands down. You guys have idolized Admiral Byrd for being a pioneer and being so brave to travel to Antarctica. And now that Jiren wants to go, he's a shill? That doesn't make any sense, especially considering what you said here.
Antarctica is the other one. Like you said, Antarctica on the flat Earth is the perimeter. It surrounds everything, and it's south in every direction. If you go straight, you end up in Antarctica. Therefore, Antarctica is the second most significant, location on a flat Earth that becomes insignificant on a globe. On a flat Earth, it's the perimeter. If you are in a cage, it's anything that has limits. It is the natural thing for inquisitive humans to check that out, to go there. Just like the center point that everything revolves around. Those two things are going to naturally bring human inquisitiveness to them to the point that we would find out the truth.
So according to you, Antarctica is the second most significant location on a flat Earth, and it is the natural thing for inquisitive humans to go there and check it out. But now that Jiren wants to go to the second most significant location and check it out, you are calling him a shill? Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Eric, since you like numbered lists in your videos, I numbered my questions in this video to make it easy for you to respond. And again, if you make a video and respond to all of my questions, I will donate $1,000 to a charity of your choice. Let's begin. Eric Dubay has always been excited and inquisitive about Antarctica and has said he wants to go there himself, as you can hear in this clip.
Well, why can't I, similar to like Antarctica, but why can't I go see for myself? Why are you just telling me, oh, it's a globe, it's a little continent on the bottom, you don't fall off because of gravity, you're good, don't bother going there. Well, why can't I go and see? I want to go there and check it out for myself, and then I'll decide. Can't we do that?
Eric, question number one. Why don't you seem excited to go to Antarctica anymore? Why are you putting Jiren down for wanting to go to Antarctica when you yourself said you want to go there and check it out for yourself? Now, before you use your regular line of freely and independently explore Antarctica, consider that you can't legally, freely, and independently explore your neighbor's house or his yard or any property that you don't own, for that matter. Most of the world, including most, if not all countries, don't let you freely and independently come onto their land without permission and freely and privately explore whatever you want. But here's the cool thing. Once you get permission, you can. If your neighbor wants to give you permission to freely and independently explore their house, go for it. If a country gives you permission to enter their borders and then freely and independently explore, have at it. It's not that hard to get permission to go to Antarctica. And you can even go alone if you'd like to. Solo Antarctic trips are very common. No chaperone, no tour, no guide. Solo. Berg Ausland took a solo trip in 1996. Felicity Aston did it in 2012. Henry Worsley took a solo trip in 2015 and sadly died. Mike Horn did it in 2016. Colin O'Brady and Lewis Rudd both did solo trips in 2018, and there are dozens more. You can freely and independently traverse Antarctica as long as you get permission first. Listen to what else you like to say about previous Antarctic expeditions, which upon further inquiry, I found to be very wrong.
Explorers like Jarl and Ahoy have attempted on several occasions to independently sail to and explore Antarctica, only to be captured by patrol vessels, fined, and imprisoned.
There is so much false information and deception here, I'm not sure where to even start. Yarla Anoy took his first trip from Norway to Antarctica in 1996 at the age of 19. Nothing happened, and after returning home, he wrote a book about it. He took his second trip to Antarctica in 1999, and after picking up an American and an Argentinian in Chile, they went to Antarctica. Again, nothing happened. And after returning home, he actually became quite famous, and a documentary was made about their voyage called Berserk in Antarctica. Why do you leave all this out, Eric? And then in 2002, Yarla sailed to the Arctic, not the Antarctic, and this is where he first got into trouble with the government. He was fined for sailing without insurance. In 2007, he began a new expedition of the Northwest Passage, again, the Arctic, not Antarctica, and was arrested by Canadian authorities. Nothing to do with Antarctica. In 2011, Yarla took another trip to Antarctica, his third trip, and after reaching Antarctica, he and one other crewmate got on ATVs and started heading south in an attempt to reach the South Pole. They left the other 3 crew members on board. While those 2 were freely and independently exploring Antarctica on their ATVs, a New Zealand naval vessel stumbled upon their boat. If people would believe your deception, you'd think they would have been arrested on the spot. But no, the naval vessel Wellington gave them food, a single cigar, and told them to beware that a severe storm was expected, and then left them. Over a week later, the boat's emergency radio beacon was activated, and the same naval vessel Wellington responded and went to the site of the beacon, and the boat was not there. Paul Watson also responded to the distress signal as his boat, Steve Irwin of the Sea Shepherd fleet, was nearby pursuing Japanese whalers, and he said it was very difficult looking for them as the sea was freezing around their boat. So he used his helicopter, and after searching for 14 hours, found items from their boat, but no boat and none of the 3 men. They were never found and presumed dead. Now, in the aftermath of this tragedy, it was discovered that Yarla was again traveling without insurance, and he was fined a mere $5,000. Yarla returned home again, and they made another documentary about this trip as well. This is now 3 trips to Antarctica, where Yarla freely and independently explored Antarctica, and his only serious legal troubles came in the Arctic and Canada. Yarla started blaming the New Zealand Navy for the loss of his boat and crew, creating an enemy out of them. And then in 2012, Yarla wanted to return to Antarctica to look for any signs of his missing boat. He entered New Zealand illegally. He also left illegally, and so they started a search for his boat to stop him. Knowing this, he headed to Chile. While in Chile, the Chilean Navy detained them for giving a false name when contacted by radio. Yarla was fined and returned to Norway. Eric, question 2. will you correct the record and publicly admit that Yarla made 3 trips to Antarctica and freely and independently explored Antarctica and did not have any legal issues surrounding these trips until the 3rd trip when his boat went missing and members of his crew died? And will you stop implying that if you try to go to Antarctica, you will be stopped by naval vessels and arrested, which never happened to Yarla? Now, you just love to show this video of these fishermen in short-sleeved shirts while you are talking about the Antarctic Treaty, which misleads people into thinking that if you try to go to Antarctica, you will be stopped or detained. Eric, you know full well that this video has absolutely nothing to do with Antarctica. Here is the original video on a channel called You Fish TV, and it's fishermen off the coast of Australia. They even give their coordinates on the video, and they are in the Bass Strait in southern Australia. This is why these guys are in short sleeve shirts. It's very hot there. They are nowhere near Antarctica. They are not even headed to Antarctica. This is called deception when you play a video that in reality has nothing to do with what you are talking about to plant a seed in the viewer's mind that it is what you are talking about. I've lost count how many flat earthers have shared this video claiming that it's a boat trying to get to Antarctica but are being stopped by a military vessel because of the Antarctic Treaty. Eric, question number 3. Will you correct the record and publicly admit that this video has nothing to do with Antarctica, nothing to do with the Antarctic Treaty, and will you never again use it while talking about Antarctica and the Antarctic Treaty, and call on all flat earthers to stop claiming this is a video showing what happens when a boat tries to go to Antarctica? Next, we need to cover your claims about visiting Antarctica, which are just plain false.
Why has the entire continent of Antarctica and everywhere else on Earth below the 60th south parallel been caged off from us? The only way we can experience Antarctica is by being a government employee and working at one of their bases, or doing one of their overpriced penguin tours along the Antarctic coast.
It's peculiar that you say below the 60th south parallel. Wouldn't that be what it is on a globe? On a flat Earth, below the 60th south parallel would be underwater. On a flat Earth, shouldn't you say beyond the 60th south parallel? Anyway, Antarctica is not caged off from anyone, as we've already seen in this video. But let's listen carefully to what you say here.
The only way we can experience Antarctica is by being a government employee and working at one of their bases, or doing one of their overpriced penguin tours along the Antarctic coast.
This is not true at all. The final experiment is showing the world that this is not true. None of us going are government employees working at an Antarctic base, and we are not going to see any penguins, nor will we be along the Antarctic coast. We are flying deep into Antarctica. After we fly over the Antarctic coast, we will continue flying south for hours until we get to 79 degrees, 46 minutes south. And we are not going to go to any government base. We will be at Union Glacier Camp, located within the Ellsworth Mountains. Eric, question number 4. Will you admit that you have been stating incorrect information, that the only way to experience Antarctica is to be a government employee at a government base or to take a penguin tour along the coast, and that anyone can experience Antarctica and go well beyond the coast? Everyone going to Antarctica this December with the final experiment will be experiencing Antarctica and will be well beyond the coast. So it would be good for you to correct this one sooner than later. Let's switch to the 24-hour sun, also known as the midnight sun. You've been adamant for many years that there is no 24-hour sun in Antarctica, as you state in these videos. There is a reason you have been so adamant about this, and that's because it does not work on a flat Earth. Let's listen to what you have to say about the 24-hour sun.
Excluding overpriced chaperoned penguin tours and government-approved contractors, nobody is allowed to step foot in Antarctica, especially not during winter solstice, when there should supposedly be constant 24-hour sunlight.
Here's another example where you say nobody is allowed to step foot in Antarctica without being a government-approved contractor or on a penguin tour, which we all now know is false. But you also include something new here, that nobody is allowed to step foot in Antarctica, especially during the winter solstice. Where do you get this stuff? I feel like you're just making it up. Antarctica is not shut down on the winter solstice. You can travel to Antarctica on the winter solstice if you want to, just like William Shatner, Neil deGrasse Tyson, and Scott Kelly will be doing this year, along with hundreds of other people. Eric, question number 5. Will you admit that there is no law or treaty that prevents people from stepping foot in Antarctica during the winter solstice, as you claim? Let's continue.
16. The midnight sun. The midnight sun is an Arctic phenomenon occurring annually during the summer solstice, where for several days straight, observers north of the Arctic Circle can watch the sun traveling circles overhead, rising and falling throughout the day, but never fully setting for upwards of 72 plus hours. If the Earth was actually a spinning globe revolving around the sun, the only place such a phenomenon as the midnight sun could be observed would be at the poles. Any other vantage point, from 89 degrees latitude downwards, could never, regardless of any tilt or inclination, see the sun for over 24 hours straight. To do so on a spinning globe, at a point other than the poles, you would have to be looking through miles and miles of land and sea for part of the revolution.
Okay, both sides agree there is a 24-hour sun, a midnight sun, in the Arctic in the north. But then you say something that makes no sense to me, and again, I'm curious where you are getting this from.
If the Earth was actually a spinning globe revolving around the sun, the only place such a phenomenon as the midnight sun could be observed would be at the poles. Any other vantage point, from 89 degrees latitude downwards, could never, regardless of any tilt or inclination, see the sun for over 24 hours straight. To do so on a spinning globe, at a point other than the poles, you would have to be looking through miles and miles of land and sea for part of the revolution.
Simple geometry here. With a single light source, you can only light up half of a sphere. And since the globe model says the globe is tilted, it's not just at the poles where a 24-hour sun would be visible. I don't even know what question to ask you here, as it's clear there is no way for you to substantiate this claim of yours, and it just appears you're not familiar with the globe model. Moving on.
In order to fit the heliocentric globe model, this midnight sun phenomenon must also occur for observers south of the Antarctic Circle during winter solstice. Depending how far south the observer is, the sun should be seen for several days or weeks, never fully setting, just like it does in the north. In reality, however, there is never 24-hour sunlight anywhere in Antarctica at any time of year.
Okay, now we're getting to the good stuff. This is where you state two very important things. First, you say,
in order to fit the heliocentric globe model, this midnight sun phenomenon must also occur for observers south of the Antarctic Circle during winter solstice.
This is correct. If the globe model is correct, the 24-hour sun must happen in the south in Antarctica. And then you say this.
In reality, however, there is never 24-hour sunlight anywhere in Antarctica at any time of year.
As I stated before, you have been adamant for years that there is not a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. And you take this stance because if there is a 24-hour sun, your model is wrong. I hope you realize that it was comments from flat earthers just like yourself that helped me come up with this idea for the final experiment. You said it perfectly. In order to fit the globe model, the midnight sun must also occur in Antarctica. We agree with you. Here you are saying this again.
The midnight sun being seen only in the northern regions is evidence against the globular theory. If the world were a globe, the midnight sun would be seen in the southern regions in December as it is seen in the northern in June.
We agree with you. If the world is a globe, the 24-hour sun would be seen in Antarctica in December. And this is why we are going to Antarctica in December to test the globe model. You've been extremely confident for years that there isn't a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. Here's a sampling of your confidence.
During winter solstice, when the sun is circling its widest path over and around the Tropic of Capricorn, observers far enough south will experience extended daylight hours due to proximity with the sun, but will still observe it to rise and set beyond the horizon completely every single day.
You draw a very clear line in the sand. Observers far enough south will observe the sun to both rise and set beyond the horizon completely every single day. And one more for good measure.
There is, in fact, never 24-hour sunlight anywhere in Antarctica, because even when the sun reaches its outermost circuit over the Tropic of Capricorn, the entirety of the Antarctic circumference cannot be reached by its light at any one time, and so it will still set every day.
I appreciate your honesty here. On a flat Earth, there can never be a 24-hour sun anywhere in Antarctica, and the entirety of Antarctica cannot be reached by the sun's light at any one time, so it must set every day. Eric, question number 6. Giving your answer as a percentage, 100% being the most confident, how confident are you that there is not a 24-hour sun in Antarctica? And if you give any percentage other than 100%, what is causing your doubt, considering the final experiment has not even happened yet? Since your only position thus far has been that there is never a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, you state that any claim that there is a 24-hour sun in Antarctica is a lie. You say this.
Since this particular lie is so important to the heliocentric facade, if you search online, you will find a couple videos purporting to show 24-hour sunlight in Antarctica, but just like the rest of the globe's pathetic video evidence, they are all fake.
I find it interesting that you say there are only a couple videos and then say they are all fake. If I only believed there were 2 videos, I would say they are both fake. I wouldn't say they are all fake. Here's another clip of you saying the same thing.
The ball Earth pseudoscientists have tried to claim 24-hour sunlight also happens in Antarctica during the winter solstice to help bolster their wobbling ball model. But their only supposed evidence is a couple of clearly fake edited videos which have been thoroughly debunked.
Again, you claim there are only a couple videos which you say are fake and edited.
It's difficult to find any clearly legitimate videos of the midnight sun in Antarctica.
I searched online for just 10 minutes, and there are a lot more than 2 videos. I'm a little surprised that you would say there are just 2 videos, but I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt here and assume you either searched the wrong terms or that YouTube was not cooperating. Here are the videos I found in just 10 minutes of searching. This is the first one that comes up on YouTube, and it was released almost 9 years ago and was filmed by Anthony Powell. This is another one filmed by Anthony Powell, and it was uploaded by Josh Miller over 7 years ago. Here is another one by Anthony Powell, uploaded 7 years ago and was filmed with a 360-degree camera. So far, we have 3 videos from just one source, Anthony Powell, yet you claim there are only 2 videos of the 24-hour sun in Antarctica? All 3 of these have been on YouTube over 7 years. This next one was uploaded by Wolfie6020, who is a pilot. He runs a flat earth debunking channel, and he has actually already participated in the final experiment. He uploaded this video almost 6 years ago. And if you are wondering how a pilot would have a video of the sun at the South Pole, when you read the description, it says the video comes from a Robert Schwartz, and there is a Vimeo link to the original video. As any good researcher would do, I clicked on the link and it took me here to Robert Schwartz Vimeo channel. And he has 85 videos, most of which were taken in Antarctica. And I found another video of the 24-hour sun. And here is the one from Wolfie6020's channel. And here's another one that shows the 24-hour sun in Antarctica. So that's now 3 from Robert Schwartz. Going back to YouTube, I found this one by Richard Ross, this one by Maddie Jordan, this one by Slarty Barty, another one by Anthony Powell, and yet another one by Anthony Powell, this one in 8K. And then deep in the YouTubes, I found this one from over 11 years ago on a channel called Reality Max Out. And then I stumbled on this one from a channel called Antarctic Streams from over 4 years ago and became really overwhelmed when I noticed this channel has over 3,000 videos and they are all from Antarctica. I tried to count how many videos they have of the 24-hour sun and stopped when I got over 40 of them. Eric, in just 10 minutes of research, real research, I found dozens of videos that purport to show a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. I'm dumbfounded as to why you repeatedly say there are only a couple, but I did promise to give you the benefit of the doubt here. So question number 7 is this. Now that you've been shown there are way more than 2 videos of a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, will you commit to never again saying there are only 2 or only a few or only a handful of videos of the 24-hour sun in Antarctica? Now let's deal with your claim that all these videos are fake. Well, you said the 2 videos were all fake, so I guess let's start with those 2 videos. Here is what you claim about the first one.
The most popular video allegedly showing an Antarctic 24-hour time-lapse actually has mountains accidentally layered over the video's text layer, proving it to be a calculated fraud.
You claim the mountains were accidentally layered over the text layer. I'm really curious how you came to that conclusion that it was an accident. If it were me, I would start by looking at who did it, who created it. As we can see, this video was made by Anthony Powell. His name keeps coming up a lot. Who is Anthony Powell? Well, a quick Google search reveals he's a filmmaker, he's a photographer, he's a specialist camera equipment builder. He has been working in Antarctica with his wife for many years, and he made an award-winning documentary called Antarctica: A Year on Ice. That's quite the list, Eric. And you think this guy accidentally layered mountains over a text layer? Let's look at the other video, the only other one you've ever found somehow, and hear what you have to say about this one.
Other videos simply show an Arctic midnight sun time-lapse, but claim it to be from Antarctica.
So you claim that this video is of the Arctic midnight sun in the north and is just being passed off as from Antarctica. Well, I have news for you. The globe model not only says there is a 24-hour sun in both the north in the Arctic and in the south in the Antarctic, the globe model also says that the sun visually moves through the sky in opposite directions in the north versus the south. So the globe model says the sun moves from left to right in the Arctic and from the right to the left in the Antarctic. So when you show this video and claim it's actually an Arctic midnight sun, did you notice which way the sun was moving across the sky? That's right, from right to left. So this is not from the Arctic, but from Antarctica. And did you notice what was in the foreground of the video? Did you bother to look into that at all? That is McMurdo Station in Antarctica. There isn't anything in the Arctic like this Antarctic base in the background. And it would have been super easy for you to just go on Google Maps and look at the pictures of McMurdo Station and match up the buildings that are in the video. Now, what's funny about you insinuating that this video is actually from the Arctic is that you also talk about the clouds being repeated as we hear in this video.
If we can supposedly take trips to the North Pole for little photo ops and rich people can have penguin tours to Antarctica and all this stuff, why don't we have legitimate photos of the star trails I just said, or legitimate videos of the 24-hour sun in Antarctica? Why do we just get these little skips and these little flip frames and the clouds don't match up and all this crap? I would say because they aren't at those real places and they can't get those videos, so this is the best we can get.
If this video was from the Arctic, there would be no need to do anything with the clouds. So which is it? Is this a video from the Arctic being passed off as from Antarctica? Or is this video actually from Antarctica but edited and doctored to show a 24-hour sun that does not exist? Now, flat earthers have made a huge deal about the clouds being duplicated in this video, and I will give credit to the flat earthers here for finding these duplicated clouds. But we can't stop there. Why are the clouds at the beginning the same clouds at the end? We can come up with any number of conspiracy theories, but wouldn't it be a good thing to actually try to get to the truth as to why this happened? Have you ever investigated this, Eric? Or did you just make up a story yourself and start propagating it? Well, let me tell you what I did. I did the unthinkable. I did the unimaginable. I contacted Anthony Powell. Can you believe the insanity? I know, it's crazy. I actually reached out to the man who made the video. And guess what happened? He responded to me. I know, hard to believe. And guess what I learned? I learned that he did an interview on YouTube explaining why his editor edited the clouds. And here's the best part. He showed the original footage on that interview unedited. This is the type of research I expect from truthers. But I can't find a single flat earther who talks about this interview. And I can't find a single flat earther that contacted Anthony Powell to just ask him what was up with the video. Now, I noticed something interesting in the description of Anthony Powell's 24-hour sun video. Check it out. He says, P.S. Flat Earth people, you are very entertaining with your comments. My challenge to you, put your money where your mouth is and book a cruise ship holiday to Antarctica below the Antarctic Circle to prove the video wrong. I'll even reimburse the cost of your trip if you can prove the sun does not do this as shown in this video. Edit. Years later, cue sound of crickets. Despite 40,000 tourists and thousands of researchers and workers going to Antarctica every year, no one has taken me up on this offer. Eric, question number 8. Now that I've given you the original unedited footage from Anthony Powell, will you air it on your channel to see if your followers can find anything wrong with it? If yes, thank you. If no, why not? To conclude this section on the 24-hour sun, here is what you say.
There are dozens of clearly genuine videos you can see online of the Arctic midnight sun, and you can freely travel above the Arctic Circle to experience it for yourself. Conversely, however, there are only a couple clearly fake videos online of the supposed Antarctic midnight sun, and you cannot ever freely travel there to experience it for yourself.
We now know that there are also dozens of videos of the Antarctic sun, so I really hope you will stop saying that there are only a couple. But I'm interested in your claim that the dozens of videos of the midnight sun in the Arctic are clearly genuine videos. I would love to know how you decide that a video is clearly genuine. Eric, question number 9. How did you determine that these Arctic videos of the midnight sun were clearly genuine? I would like to apply your criteria for those videos to the videos of the 24-hour sun in Antarctica to see if those are clearly genuine as well. Thanks. Now, you made another comment in that clip that is incorrect. Let's listen one more time.
Conversely, however, there are only a couple clearly fake videos online of the supposed Antarctic midnight sun, and you cannot ever freely travel there to experience it for yourself.
The final experiment is showing the entire world that you can travel to Antarctica and that you can travel there specifically to see whether or not there is a 24-hour sun. So your comment that you cannot ever freely travel to Antarctica to experience the 24-hour sun for yourself is false. I feel confident that when you said freely, you didn't mean without cost, but just in case you are tempted to say that, here's another clip of you making the same claim.
Some people claim there is a similar phenomenon in Antarctica, but they coincidentally don't have any uncut videos showing this. The few videos available online have been suspiciously edited or manipulated, and the Antarctic Treaty doesn't allow independent explorers to travel there during the winter solstice to verify or refute these claims.
Eric, there is nothing in the Antarctic Treaty that says you can't travel to Antarctica during the winter solstice to verify or refute the claim of the 24-hour sun in Antarctica. This is exactly what the final experiment is. Traveling to Antarctica in December to verify or refute the 24-hour sun. Question number 10. Will you never again say that the Antarctic Treaty prevents people from going to Antarctica to see whether or not there is a 24-hour sun, considering we are doing just that this December, and anyone can do the same thing we are doing? It's become obvious to me why you are not excited about the final experiment. If there's a 24-hour sun, almost all your videos are wrong. Your entire model would be wrong. The maps you promote would all be falsified. Your model of the sun traveling between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn would be proven wrong. I get it. There's a lot at stake here. As we hear you say in this next clip, you've gone all in that Antarctica is not an island at the bottom of the globe, but surrounds the other 6 continents.
But the reality is, the routes are geographically impossible because Antarctica is not a tiny ice continent confined to the underside of a spherical spinning ball Earth. Antarctica is actually the outer southern perimeter of our level, motionless plain Earth and surrounds the other 6 continents. How far southwards Antarctica actually extends and how it terminates or what exists beyond it are all unknown to and kept from the general public, however, and as a result, no completely accurate, fully functioning flat Earth map exists or could exist without the people being first allowed full, independent exploration of the Arctic, Antarctic, and everywhere else. There are, however, several maps which work as good visual aids for approximating the geography of our flat stationary Earth. The Gleason's 1892 New Standard Map of the World and Hammond's 1945 Air Age Map of the World are 2 such maps.
A 24-hour sun in Antarctica does not work on Gleason's map. A 24-hour sun in Antarctica does not work on Hammond's map. A 24-hour sun does not work if Antarctica is the perimeter of our known Earth. Eric, question 11. Before we go to Antarctica this December, will you publicly acknowledge that a 24-hour sun in Antarctica would render invalid the Gleason map, the Hammond map, and any map that has Antarctica surrounding the other 6 continents, and that a 24-hour sun in Antarctica would also render invalid your model that the sun travels in circles between the 2 tropics? I have to admit, I was a little surprised that you decided to jump on the flat Earth bandwagon and say the final experiment is not an experiment and merely an observation. Here is the clip in case anyone missed it.
So what is Will's brilliant idea? What is his ingenious experiment to finally silence all globe skepticism? Invite 12 Flat Earth YouTubers and 12 Globe Earth YouTubers to Antarctica in December to see if there's a midnight sun. In other words, the final experiment is not an experiment, and not even a demonstration, but merely an observation.
It was actually 24 flat earthers and 24 globe earthers to go with the fact that it's the year 2024, and we are going to find out whether or not there is a 24-hour sun, but whatever. The final experiment is definitely an experiment, and I will deal with that specifically in a future video. But I do have a very important question for you. It has to do with your use of the word experiment during this interview.
As a flat Earth mission, say, like for me, I think this could be both for flat earthers and globers or anyone else. This whole thing can be put to bed in one day, and I wonder what that one day will be. The day is the day that somebody in a plane goes in a straight line for 24 hours. I mean, that's all we need to have happen. It's like, because when you go straight, the globe earthers think if you go straight long enough, they'll come back to where they were. So, as a globe earther, you should want to see this experiment as well to prove to yourself, just like us flat earthers want to see the experiment because we don't believe that you're going to come back upon yourself. You're going to keep going straight, and even if you don't start southwards, you can go straight in any direction. Eventually, you're going to be going south, and eventually you're going to get to Antarctica and whatever may or may not be beyond.
Interesting. So when you talk about flying in a plane and eventually getting to Antarctica, that is an experiment. But when we fly to Antarctica, it's not an experiment? Eric, question number 12. Can you help me understand how flying on a plane in a straight line and ending up in Antarctica is an experiment, but flying to Antarctica and documenting what the sun does is not an experiment? Flat earthers have said for years that truth does not fear investigation. You've said this yourself many times.
Truth is not injured by enquiry and test, but is like a cube, always right side up.
The final experiment is an investigation, an inquiry into the sun and what it does in Antarctica. And it's a very simple test to determine the truth. What could possibly be wrong with that?